Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Dreaming Maxi Style. I'm Robin, and I am bringing you part 3 of our first trip to Walt Disney World. So, let me start off by saying we had it really easy. Um, we did have to make park reservations, but we were going to be in the parks for 8 days, and so we just kind of said 2 parks each day, and based on what reservations I could get, we chose where we were each day. Um, we did know that we wanted to do 2 days in Magic Kingdom. We knew that we wanted to do 2 days in Hollywood Studios. In regards to Epcot and Animal Kingdom, we weren't really sure. We knew about the Festival of the Arts, but we didn't really know what all that entailed. And we didn't know if we would really like it, even though my husband's a foodie. So you never really know. But that's kind of how we started off. We'll go to 2 parks each and leave it at that. So we had gone through each of the parks, and so our first 4 days we did hit each park. We loved Magic Kingdom, we loved Hollywood Studios. Animal Kingdom, I don't know if it was just the weather that day or if we got everything done and we were like, okay, we're good, or what it was exactly. But we kind of decided that we didn't need to go back to Animal Kingdom. And both Jeffrey and I were on the same page with that. We loved Everest, we loved the safari, we loved Pandora and Flight of Passage, cheeseburger pods, um, and of course, Nomad Lounge. But at the same time, we felt like we had really experienced everything. We did the jungle tracks, we did all of the rides. The shows weren't up, but we're not really shows people. We haven't ever really explored that very much at Walt Disney World. So for us, we were doing pretty good. And we had kind of said that if we wanted to, we could switch out our second day. And at that point in time, there are plenty of reservations available, so that wasn't really an issue either. Um, so after we did Animal Kingdom, we did Epcot and we did the festival, and we absolutely loved it. And it was incredible. And we ended up doing our second Animal Kingdom day at Epcot. There were plenty of reservations available, so that was great. But when you're going for the first time, I think you definitely want to have flexibility. Now, it also depends on the type of park ticket you have. Now, when we went, you could only do 1 park per day. There was no hopper ticket available at that time. Um, Now that there is, it changes everything. Um, but I definitely recommend seeing each park. Don't count Animal Kingdom out. Um, Especially if you have kids who love Lion King or Finding Nemo or Bug's Life for the moment. Um, it really is a great park. All of the parks are great in their own ways. And I think so easily when you're planning a 2 day or a 3 day trip, you can say, okay, well, my kid's not going to want to do Hollywood Studios because, they're not into roller coasters or they don't like Toy Story or they haven't gotten into Star Wars yet. Like, don't discount certain parks because your kids don't know the IP. Um, it's so incredible the little experiences that you have. For us, Animal Kingdom, we have gone to Animal Kingdom every time we have gone. We love Everest. It is the most amazing ride. We love the Maharaja Jungle Track. We love walking around the Tree of Life. There are so many things that you just don't want to miss out on by missing a park. Um, but it also is very much around your little ones, your kids, the people you're with, everything. But for us, we got to do each park for 2 days, minus Animal Kingdom. And so we took that extra day and gave it to Epcot because there's just so much in Epcot. And for us, that was the right choice. So, a couple of things I do want to touch on when picking your parks um, for your first trip out there. If you've never done the amount of walking that you have to do in Walt Disney World before, you really want to have good shoes and you really want to prepare for it. It is a lot. We took a friend of mine about a year ago and she was not a walker. So Epcot was really difficult. Magic Kingdom wasn't as bad. Um, Hollywood Studios is the smallest of the parks, so it was super easy. And then Animal Kingdom, we actually had to do a wheelchair for her that day. And you really have to think about what your little ones can do. Can they handle a huge park like Epcot? Can, can they handle, the extra heat that you get when you're at Animal Kingdom? Because, and everybody says this, and it's so true, Animal Kingdom is a warmer park. So, depending on the time of year you're going, definitely something to consider. How we did our first trip is not how I would do it today. So, if I had to redo our first trip, it would look very similar and very different. So, how it would be similar is I would still have a stay at Pop Century. It's a great hotel. It's on the Skyliner. The rooms are clean and nice. The food court is great. The pool is standard, but it's still good. But the big draw for me is that Skyliner. That's going to be huge. Um, Amount of days, I'd still do the exact same. I think I've learned that there's good ideas to having a rest day and bad ideas to having a rest day because it doesn't matter really what your rest day is if you're not resting. So if you want to call it a day not in the park, call it a day not in the park, and that's fine. Um, but if we were redoing this trip now in 2024, I think it would look very, very different. I don't think that the parks that we go to would change. We would still hit all 4 parks. But I do think we'd have a park hopper ticket. I do think that I wouldn't do as many restaurants. Now, don't get me wrong. Every single trip we go on, we end up having a sit down restaurant at least once a day. The shorter trips, we do it once a day. The longer trips, I think it's probably we just are very much more careful about it, especially if there's a festival going on and we're hopping using Park Hopper and we're going to Epcot. um, I think we definitely could have gone last time and not eaten as much and been just as happy. But of course, there are so many restaurants you want to try. There are so many restaurants that you want to eat at, and you don't want to miss out on that. It's like it's the FOMO. You don't want the fear of missing out. You don't want to miss out on anything. So if I was redoing this trip, I probably would have us hit all of the same restaurants. I think our only difference would be I wouldn't do 2 sit down restaurants in one day. And we did have situations where we did that. The other thing is when doing Epcot, if there's a festival going on, I probably would not do a sit down meal at Epcot if there's a festival going on. Unless I wasn't eating at the festival. If I'm not eating at the festival, I'll do a sit down restaurant. If I am eating at the festival, it's touch and go. But it also depends on if you want to eat at the festival. Do you have dietary restrictions where you can eat at the festival? So would a sit down restaurant be better for you? It also depends on budget. When we do the festivals, we get one of the wrist gift cards and we put a certain amount of money on that, and that's the money we have for the festival booths. And that's kind of like our entertainment in the park. It's our food money in the park. And really fun to have the little wrist thingy. The other thing that's different today is Park Hopper is back and in full force. And if you have a dated ticket, you don't need a reservation. So you can go to any park that you want. And it's back to what I understand it was pre-COVID, which is great because then that offers you more flexibility and everything else when you're going to the parks. You can do all 4 parks in one day and not feel incredibly rushed. You can have that fun experience of hitting all of your favorite rides with a combination of Genie Plus um, and park hopping. So it's a whole new world out there as things change and slowly go back to how they were pre-COVID. So just on a final note about how to choose your park, you need to look at your party, look at who you're taking with you. I know that Jeffrey and I, when we take our kids to either Disneyland or Walt Disney World, we really consider what our kids enjoy and how to address it that way. And then when it's just Jeffrey and I, we look at that as well. Or if we have a friend with us, we look at that. Look to your audience. Obviously, if you have little ones, you're going to be chilling out at the Magic Kingdom. If you have little girls who love Frozen, you might make it over to Epcot. If you have a Lion King enthusiast, you better hit up Animal Kingdom. It all really just depends on the group that you're with. I do recommend, if it's your first time, doing all 4 parks, 1-day ticket. If your little ones or your family or your friends or the group you're going with have that extra spunk of energy, I recommend getting the park hopper and, saying, okay, we're going to hit each park once and figure out where we want to go. You could start your day in Animal Kingdom and end in Epcot. You could start your day in Hollywood Studios and end in Magic Kingdom. The park hopper really offers a lot of variety, especially because you never know what the weather is going to be like in Florida. Florida weather is like Denver, where we live. You never know what you're going to get. When I started filming this video, it was snowing, and now the sun is coming out, and I actually have light in this room, as you can tell from the shadow behind me. But I love Park Hopper. I think it gives you so much variety. It does cost a little bit more, and if you have to work that into your budget, I highly recommend it. But is it worth it? Absolutely. It's absolutely worth it. If you can buy 3 park days instead of 4 because you don't think your family is going to enjoy one of the parks and you want to pay for the park hopper, do it. Because, like, for us, we'll rope drop Animal Kingdom, do the rides we want to do in Animal Kingdom, and then we'll hop over to another park. And now the 2 p.m. rule is gone, so you don't even have to worry about that. Anyway, those are just some of my final thoughts. Look to who is going in your party. That is a huge, huge piece of it. And just remember, as much planning as you do, things are not always going to go right. Things will fall apart a little bit, if not a lot. But the goal is to just go experience it and have a good time. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this series. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to sharing more videos like this with you. Have a great day.